So I want you to start off by just coming into child's pose. So if you want to, wide-legged child's pose is the start. Big toes together. If you don't like coming down and you can't lean back on your feet, doesn't matter. You can, if you want to, do kind of puppy pose. So the bottom's up in the air and head down towards the floor. Again, I know people have different problems with different scenarios, so just do what you can. Bring yourself into either a child's pose where your heels and bottom are close together, or if not, you can come up into puppy pose and relax the head down to the floor. Just get yourself comfortable. Have a nice little stretch. Just take a few breaths. Just get yourself nice and relaxed. Focus on your breath rather than your mind. That little chimp that occasionally goes off. And we're going to come in and back onto our knees. So come back into tabletop and allow your back to be nice and straight. Hands under your shoulders, knees should be hip width apart. So coming into cow to start with. I always get those two mixed up. As you inhale, you're going to allow your belly to sink towards the floor. Push your chest forward, keep your shoulders nice and long, and look forward. Don't have to look really high, but just look forward. And then as you exhale, you want to turn your tailbone under, push your back to the sky, push your navel to the sky. Really sort of suck your belly in and allow your head to come down. We're going to do the same again. So coming in to cow. Inhale, push your chest forward, push your bottom back so you feel like you've got a nice arch coming into the back. And as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, slowly pushing the back up, arching the belly up towards the sky. Bring it up in and squeeze it in towards your spine. Really push the belly up, make the belly do the work rather than the spine. Relax your head, relax your feet. And we're going to do that again. So coming in to cow. Got it right that time. And coming into cat, navel to spine. Push your hands into the floor, push your knees into the floor. Really push everything into the floor to stretch your belly away. And as you exhale, come back to neutral. So while we're close to the floor, we're going to turn around to the front and bring our knees around and our feet in front of us. We're going to do Janu Shirshasana, say that with your teeth in, which is basically a bend. It's called, it translates to head to knee pose. So you're going to bend your right leg, bring it up, take it out to the side. So this is kind of like a half butterfly pose. The other leg's nice and straight, toes wiggling in the bottom of the corner there. So you're going to inhale, take your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, just bring yourself forward, coming forward, aiming to take your hands down onto your legs. Might be the knee, the shin, or even the thigh. Just come to where it's comfortable for you and just relax. We're just trying to open up your hip. And just breathing nice and gently. Just allow yourself to relax, release the stress in your body. If you feel tightness or tension, even pain, then come back out of it. Don't hold it too long. Inhale, bring yourself back up, and we're going to swap to the other leg. So bring that leg in. And we're going to bring this leg in. So again, we're looking to open the hips. So you're just bringing the leg out to the side and be aware of any tension. I'm sure I say this every time, but when I come into this position, I get a tension through the knee here, and I've not even leant forward yet. So I don't go too hard on this side, but I do allow the tension to relax. So inhale, take your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring your hands forward towards your feet. Again, I'm feeling quite tight in the knee, so I'm just not pushing too far. Just listen to your body. I'm slowly aware that my knee is dropping down towards the floor slightly. It's moved about a centimetre. Even though the tension's still there, it's no more painful than it was an inch or centimetre higher. And slowly, as you inhale, bring yourself back up. Lovely. And then we're going to lay ourselves on the floor. So bring yourself onto the floor and allow your back to come to the floor, head nice and relaxed. And we're going to take the left leg down to the floor, straighten it out nice and long, push your heel away from you. Bring your other leg, your right leg, up to your chest. So just squeeze it in gently. And we're going to do a little stretch on our bottom. We're stretching the piriformis muscles. So take your right hand down to the floor to balance you, left hand to the outside of your knee, and pull the knee across your midline, bringing it over to the other side. So you're bringing it over. And you should be feeling a twist coming through your lower back, right into your glutes. If you feel you've got more range of movement, you can use the hand to push the leg down. And you want to maybe look the other way. So look over your right shoulder. Get a good stretch through the neck muscles. You don't have to, you can look up to the sky. I'm just giving you different options for this posture. So bring that leg back to the centre on your next inhale. Just squeeze it back into your chest and release the leg down. Bring the other leg up. Straighten your right leg out so that the heel is pushing away and you're squeezing the left knee into the chest. Try not to allow the hips to lift. Keep that leg on the floor nice and strong. You're just moving your left leg rather than the whole leg coming off the floor. Take your left hand to the floor to balance you. I'm bringing it out in a T position, really. And then take my right hand to the outside of the knee, pushing it over to the side. Just gently stretching. Oh, it's windy out there tonight. It's blowing a hoolie through here. Feel that stretch coming into your bottom. If you want to, again, you can look down your left arm this time, so you're looking the opposite way. And then bring the leg back to the centre. Just squeeze it gently in. So put this foot, so the left foot goes to the floor, knee is bent. We're going to do a figure of four stretch. So take your right leg onto the left knee and just turn it to the side so you've got a figure of four. We're going to bring that leg up to our chest. So bring the left leg up, giving the right bottom glutes a nice stretch. I don't know why I say bottom glutes, because the glutes aren't in the bottom. It's a double word. And just pull the legs closer towards you, trying to get a good stretch. And you can do different things to make the stretch stronger. I like to pull the leg up nice and straight, and that seems to help get my leg forward a little bit more. Or grabbing for the outside of the leg and pulling that in might make the stretch a bit more. Up to you. And then slowly release the leg. Take your left foot down to the floor. Keep your right leg where it is. So take your arms out to balance you, so they're out at about 45 degrees, maybe a bit more than that. And just take your right foot, keeping yourself in this figure of four position, take the right foot down towards the floor. So you're rotating the hips around again, getting the same stretch that we had in our piriformis stretch. earlier when we took the knee across. You should get a stretch through your back, through your bottom, all the way up to your shoulder. And again, you can look down your right arm. It's a nice dimension into the stretch by including the neck as well. If you've got any tension in your neck, being a computer user, this is quite a nice stretch to do because it does try and loosen the muscles in your neck a little bit. Whew. When you're ready, next inhale, we're going to bring that leg back up. And now we're going to keep the leg where it is and swap sides. So keep the leg up. You're going to take your right knee down to the floor so the foot stays up. So you're doing the same sort of stretch, but you haven't moved the leg. Just come to where's comfortable for you. Look down your left arm. Oh, I've got a nice little crack out of my back there. And again. I'm hoping that was a nice crack and I'll be able to get my leg back up again. And inhale, bring the leg back up. And then we swap to the other side. So release that foot down. And we're going to swap legs. So the left leg comes up, ankle to right knee. Keep your hands where they are. No, you don't. We're going to do the first stretch. So bring your leg up. So your right leg comes up, grab behind the knee and squeeze that in. Just get a good stretch to start with. So you should feel your glutes are warming up nicely. If you want to, again, you can change the stretch. So I like to take my leg up to the sky. I feel that pushes my hips forward slightly. I get a better range of motion. Or you could reach for your legs. But if you find that you can't get your head down flat and you're looking backwards, that's a no-no. So this stretch might not be good for you. You want to keep the head flat so you're looking above you. It does increase. If you keep the head flat and the back flat, it does increase the stretch through your glutes. But if you've got your head back, it decreases the stretch. But it does on me anyway. Right, so we're going to take that foot down to the floor again. Bring your right foot down and you're going to take your left foot onto the floor to the side, just like we did on the other side. Just take the leg over. You're aiming to get the foot to the floor if you can, but don't worry if you can't, and be aware of where you feel the stretch. So for me, this stretch is on the side of my leg rather than in my glute. So it's right on the side here. I'm just not sure you can see that if you're laying looking up at the sky. And then inhale, bring yourself up and take the leg over, continuing over to the other side. Bring the left knee down to the left side. Try and keep your shoulders on the floor. Look down your right arm. Just take a few breaths. Get that stretch in your bum cheek. Might be in a different place because of the way the leg is angled from what we've just done. Again, I feel it in the glute now rather than in the side of the hip. So inhale, bring your leg back to the centre. And we're going to release that leg down. Okay, so we're going to come up and do a couple of rounds of sun salutations. So just bring yourself on up. Just going to adjust my screen a little bit. I can't see my feet now. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my mat back. That works. Dangerous, but not right to work properly. Right, okay, so mountain pose. You all know mountain pose. I'm sure you're bored of me telling you about mountain pose. So I'm not going to. You all know what to do. You're all seasoned professionals. Stand up nice and tall. You're going to inhale, bring your arms up to the sky. Look up to your hands. And as you exhale, swan dive your hands down to the floor. Take a note of where your hands are coming to on your first forward bend of the day. Inhale, half lift. Really flatten that back out. Really kind of push the chest forward. This is a really difficult one to explain, but you want to have a flat back rather than a shoulders down. So bring your shoulders up. Bring your chest up. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and inhale, step back with your right leg into plank and then your left leg into plank. Make sure that your elbows and shoulders are over your hands. If you're feeling any tightness in your wrists, then just try not to put too much weight on them. Don't stay in plank for too long. So you can chaturanga down or you can release the knees and slowly lower yourself down to the floor. If you want to go into Sphinx because your back's feeling tight, then please do so. If not, come into Baby Cobra, which is bent arms. Shoulders pushed away from your ears, looking forward. Your back feels tight, give your bottom a good squeeze. And exhale, lower your head down to the floor. Your hands under your shoulders if you're in Sphinx. Tuck your toes under, push back into downward dog. Just step your feet forward slightly. And paddle your feet out, just trying to stretch your hamstrings and your calves so that your heels make an attempt to get closer to the floor. It's easier one leg at a time, not so easy 2 legs at a time. And again, take note of where you feel your tightness. And always remember, you can do some of your rolling or ball work to try and release the tension and make the stretch easier. On your next inhale, make sure you step forward and really try and step forward towards your hands. Bring your left leg to join it. Come into a forward bend, second forward bend. You might find that you can bring the fingers down a little bit more. Straighten the legs if you can. If not, bend the knees if your hamstrings are tight. I just looked around and wasn't even aware my legs were bent. So straightening them up. I'm going to come into a Hasta Uttanasana now. Hands up to the sky. Bring your palms together. Look up to your hands. Bring your hands to your heart center and release. Lovely. So that's the right leg done. Inhale, left leg now. Exhale, swan dive your hands down. This is your third forward bend. Maybe you find you've increased your range a little bit more. Inhale, half lift. Really lift your chest. Really open up your shoulders. Exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, step back with your left leg and then your right leg. Make sure your hands are under your shoulders. And as you exhale, you can knees, chest, chin, or you can chaturanga down to the floor. Inhale, coming up into Baby Cobra, or if you're feeling like it might want to straighten the arms this time. So if you look at my arms are slightly forward of my shoulders. And that's not quite right. So I'm just going to adjust my hands, bring myself back up again. So now my hands are much better under my shoulders. I'm not just bringing my legs forward. That's much better. Looking forward. Squeeze your bum cheeks. If you're feeling tension in your lower back, you can always lower and bend the arms slightly. And as you exhale, we're going to come up into downward dog. So tuck your toes, push back into downward dog. And think about your positioning. Feet shoulder width apart, hands nicely wide as your shoulders would be. Push your bottom up to the sky. Engage your core. If your shoulders are feeling tight, you might not like having your bottom up towards the sky. But it really does make a difference in the posture. Makes it much more of a V, an upside down V. Lovely. So we're going to step forward with that left leg now. So inhale, bring your left foot forward, your right foot forward. And you're into your fourth forward bend now. So are you getting closer? Are your legs straighter? Are you finding you're getting closer to the legs? Or your hands are coming down to the floor a little bit more. Inhale, bring your hands up to the sky. Hands to your heart center. Hands up together into prayer. Bring them to your heart center. And release. Ooh, so that's 2 down. Hopefully you're warming up nicely. We're going to do another one. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, swan dive your hands down to the floor. I think this is number 5. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bring your hands down and inhale, step back with your right leg into plank And then your left leg into plank. You're going to lower down to the floor again, so knees just chin, or you can chaturanga under now. And then inhale, coming up into cobra. Remember, those arms should be nice and straight. If you don't think that they're straight, you can always tip the body forward using your feet. And as you exhale, tuck those toes, push yourself back into downward dog, bottom to the sky, heels to the floor. Push your palms into the floor. Really help to support you. Engage your tummy muscle. Suck them right towards your spine. And inhale, we're going to bring the right foot forward towards the hands and then the left foot. If you want to, you can always jump and come into a forward bend. Inhale, bring your hands up. That would be number 6. Exhale, hands down to your sides. One more time on the left hand side. Inhale, or if you're jumping, it's both. Exhale, swan down your hands to the floor. This is number 7 on a forward bend. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Step back with your left foot, then your right foot, or you could jump back, coming into plank. Get yourself nice and comfortable. And then we're going to lower to the floor. So as you exhale, knees just chin, or you can chaturanga down. Release the feet and come up into cobra or sphinx. Or if you feel a bit stronger, you can lift the legs up, coming into up dog. Exhale. Coming into downward dog. Push your bottom to the sky. Push your palms into the floor to help you keep grounded. And your feet to help you ground. Relax your toes. Strengthen your thighs by pulling your muscles up your legs. Take a few breaths. Feel the blood in your head. And then on your next inhale, step your left foot and then your right foot forward towards your hands. Or indeed, you could do a little jump, the bunny hop. Coming into a forward bend. This is number 8. You'll go a little bit closer, put down the legs a little bit more, make some note of how you've improved. Practice makes perfect. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky, palms together, look up to your hands, adding a small back bend, and then bring your hands to your heart centre and release your arms. Well done. We're going to stay at the end of the mat, but if you want to, don't look at that watch. I'm going to take it off actually, because I keep looking at the wrong time. Not that it counts steps when you're doing yoga. It normally beeps at me while I'm doing yoga to say you've been idle, but my heart is already beating after doing my sun salutations. Okay, so what we're going to do now. Okay, so we're going to do side angle pose. So come to the front of your mat. You're going to step back. So step back with the foot that's closest to the camera if you're on sideways. If you're front ways, just step back with your left foot. So coming back into warrior 1 position, you're going to open warrior 2 position, you're going to open your hips. You're going to open your arms into warrior 2. But now I want you to straighten your leg. So straighten this leg up. And then I want you to rotate the arms round so your right hand is coming down to your right leg. Arms are upwards. And just think about the hand on the top. What I want you to do is bring that hand behind you and you're grabbing for inside the thigh if you can. It shows you've got a good range of shoulder motion. If I just turn sideways. So I've got my arm behind my back and my hand is here. So we were down like that, weren't we? And then inhale, I'm going to bring that hand up, release the back hand, bend the knee, into warrior two. So we're going to inhale, step forward. And now you're going to do it on the other side. So just come into this side. Inhale, exhale, step back with your right foot or the foot furthest away from the camera. Open your hips into warrior two and lift your arms up. You're going to straighten your front leg. And as you exhale, rotate your arms round. So you're bringing the hand round to the side. You can grab the shin to hold you up. The stronger pose would be just to rest the hand against the inside of the calf and your other arm is up. If you wanted to progress that, so again, progress. You want to turn your arm round and then bring it round behind you, grabbing for your thigh. So my fingers are just here. You might find that you can lower down to the floor, get your fingertips to the floor. So we're trying to work on stretching the inner thigh and the hamstring. Release the hand, bring it back to the sky. And as you inhale, bring your arms forwards and then bend the leg. Lovely. So that's the side angle pose we've just done with a little bit of warrior two. So give your arms, legs a little bit of a shake. We're going to come into low lunge. So step towards the front of your mat again. You're going to step back with the left leg. And when you step back this time, you're coming onto the ball of the foot. So exhale, step back onto the ball of the foot. Get the leg out as far as you can. And you want to try and get a right angle between this knee. So this is coming down. This is a real crescent lunge. If you want to, hips should be facing forwards. You can always lift the arms up. If your arms feel too heavy, you can always take them behind your back and open your shoulders out. We're going to lower ourselves down to the floor. Bring the back knee down and come into a low lunge. Release the foot, bring yourself on up. So make sure that your knee and your ankle are above each other on the front knee. So I'm just bringing mine forward. And I'm just pushing forward, getting a good stretch to the back of the ankle, in through the knee. So again, if you want to, you can always lift the arms. Makes it a bit harder. I'm just moving my leg out of the way because I didn't feel like I had a good enough stretch. And then bring your hands to the floor and come back onto your back knee. I forgot to mention, if you're having trouble with your knees, you can always put a cushion underneath them. So what we want to do now is take this front leg and take the foot forward slightly and straighten the leg. So this is half split. I'll do Hanumasana. Bring your foot up, so you're flexing the foot. So you're trying to open up your hamstring and you're looking to kind of lower down towards the knee, get a good stretch through here. If you like me, I look like I've got my knee bent, I might want to take my knee back slightly, and that increases the range of stretch through the back of my hamstring. So I'm trying to open the hamstring up at the moment. Hopefully you have got a wonderfully loose hamstring now. So we're going to bring the foot back to the floor and tuck your back toes under and come forward. Come up to standing. So we need to do all of that on the other side. So we're going to do crescent lunge to start with. Inhale. As you exhale, step back as far as you can with that right leg. Doesn't matter if you put the hands down, get the leg out as far as you can. So look, I've got a nice straight line between the legs, and you can come up if you want without falling over. Hands up to the sky or down behind your back. Opening up your chest, or there to balance you, depending if you're wobbling around a bit. So I can feel this nicely in my back hip when my leg's been stretched, and if I want to increase the stretch and range, I can come all the way down, pushing the heel back, trying to straighten out that back leg. And then lower your hands down to the floor. We're going to take the back knee down to the floor. If you need to adjust your pillow and move it over, then do so. Just bringing the knee down, releasing the back toes, and you're coming backwards. So I would like you to move your front foot back a little bit, coming up. So we're going to come into a low level lunge. Very similar stretch as we've just done. We're opening up all our hips. So bring your legs into a nice big stretch. It's called a low lunge. And then bring your hands to the floor. We're going into Ardha Hanumasana again, which is our half split. So push your bottom back and try and straighten out the front leg coming onto the heel. So you've got a stretch coming all the way through the underneath of the leg. If it's overpowering and too strong, then you might have to bend the knee slightly. I'm just taking my leg forward a little bit. Doesn't feel like I've got enough of a stretch. So just crabbed my foot forward. That's better. I can feel that just right underneath the back of the knee and right up the top. So both ends of my hamstring are getting a good stretch. Lovely. And then just release the weight off. Take your hands forward a little bit, tuck your back toes and step yourself forward. And inhale, bring yourself up. How are we doing? Everybody okay? Not killed anybody yet, mind you. Put the phone on silent, so, and then you wouldn't be able to text if I killed you anyway. Okay, so what are we going to do next? We are going to step back into Warrior 2, and then we're going to come into Humble Warrior. So inhale, exhale, step back with your left leg, coming into Warrior 2. You're going to open your hips towards the front and bring your arms up. Look along your front arm. Again, we're stretching out the hips. Check the back arm out, make sure it's nice and straight. Squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you and engage your tummy muscles. Lovely. So now you're going to windmill your hands down to the floor in front of you. Bring them down. And this is where we're coming into Humble Warrior. So you might want to take your front foot out to the side of the mat ever so slightly. And then you're just laying the outside of your body onto your leg. So I'm just resting on my leg, but trying to rest quite actively. Push your feet into the floor. And then take your hands around your back. Intertwine your fingers. See whether you can lift your hands off your back. So, if you are strong, you might be able to remove your leg out to the side slightly and take the weight off your leg. So I'm now not leaning on my leg at all. Don't matter if you can't do that, you can stay leaning on it. That helps to strengthen it, but this is the next progression. And release the arms, bring your hands to the floor. You're going to step forward with your left leg. And inhale, coming back up, standing. And now we're going to do that on the other side. So inhale, nice and tall. Step back with your right leg. Bring yourself into Warrior 2. So open your hips, turn your arms around. Face forward, look along your front arm. Check out your back arm. And then we're going to come down to Humble Warrior. So windmill your hands down to the floor, either side of your foot. Just take your left foot out to the side of the mat slightly. Just get yourself balanced. The back foot should be turned out like you would be in warrior position, but if that feels uncomfortable, you could always turn the foot around and come onto the ball of the foot. Resting on the leg, take your hands away, rest them on the bottom. Intertwine your fingers if you want. Squeeze your shoulder blades together so you can lift the arms off your back. Again, if you want to, take the weight off the leg. This is quite good for strengthening the hamstring. I feel it really pulling in the hamstring on this leg. And then slowly release your hands, release your leg, your hands to the floor, and then inhale. Bring yourself forward. Inhale up to the sky. And then I think it's definitely time for water. Hope everybody's doing all right. So we're going to come into Utkatasana, which is chair pose, and I'm going to do a little bit of weight shifting. So what we're going to do, stand up nice and tall, bring your feet out. You do need your feet quite wide for this one, because we're going to be trying to lift the leg as we do chair pose. So inhale, engage all your muscles in your tummy and get your shoulders nice and strong. Exhale, bend your knees, coming into chair pose. So you should be bending forward slightly, bottom sticking out slightly, knees bent. So I'm just coming back so I can show you the rest of the move. So I'm hoping that you're feeling quite warm. I'm feeling quite warm. I don't think the heating's on, no. So we're going to transfer the weight over onto our left leg now. So transfer your weight, so get this leg nice and straight and keep it bent, and you're going to lift this leg up into the air. So think about your drishti point, your focus point, trying to still the mind, calm the mind completely. Just use that focus point. Lovely, bring it down. We're swapping over to the other side. Inhale, bring the other leg up. And then lower it back down. We're going to do that again on either side. So inhale, transfer the weight onto your left leg, bring the right leg in. Bring it back to the centre. Come over one more time. Bring it back to the centre. And inhale, bring yourself up. Lovely. So we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. So take your legs out nice and wide. And we're going to shift our weight from one side to the other, so we're just trying to strengthen the legs. So as you inhale, stand tall. As you exhale, bend your left knee, coming on over. So you're trying to bring the body over as far as you can to this side. Feel the bottom getting engaged. Stand yourself back up. And exhale, come over to this side. Now, you can keep going up and down, or if you want to, you can get your hands to the floor. You can walk your hands across the floor, coming over to one side. Bring it back to the centre, and then come over to the other side. And again, come over. And one more time, coming over to the left-hand side. And then bring yourself back to the centre. Hands in the middle of the mat. You can't reach the mat, don't worry. You can put your hands out to your legs and grab. And just allow your head to relax down. And just shift your bottom from side to side slightly, so you feel like you've got a stretch coming through your inner thighs. You're just moving the bottom from one side to the other. It's not a big movement, but it's good for stretching the inner thighs. And then we're going to take our hands off our knees and place your hands onto your back, intertwining your fingers. We're opening those shoulders up again. So bring the shoulders open. Allow the head to look down to the floor beneath you, or even back behind you, kind of at knee level. Just feel those shoulders stretching and opening nicely. And then release your hands. Bring them to your hips, push your feet into the floor, bring yourself on up. Okay. So we're just going to do another side angle pose, like a warrior pose. So you should be able to turn into warrior from here. So if you turn your left foot round so it's facing forward, the knee naturally bends, the hips facing forwards. You might want to just adjust your back foot round. So what I want you to think about doing is trying to add what would be called a bind into this posture. So we're going to do our side angle pose where we're going to bring our arms into warrior two. And as you exhale, you'll bring the elbow down towards the knee and coming up. If that feels strong, then stay there, but we're going to try the bind, so we need to do something with this arm. So you want to bring the arm down a little bit so the elbow comes underneath your knee. So now I want you to internally rotate your arm and try and grab for the bottom behind you. And then bring the other arm down. So now your hands should be intertwined behind you. You want this hand to stay as close to the knee as possible and rotate round. If you take it up there, you can't reach because you can't, your arms aren't long enough. If you bend it here and take this arm back, that should help and work. So this is a bind. We will be using a bind in our final pose, our big pose. So release your hands. Bring yourself back up into warrior two. Hope you're feeling nice and warm. We're going to change our leg positions. So front leg that's facing forward is now turning in, back leg turning out. If you don't want to do this, you can just step back into position. Okay, so hips facing sideways. This knee should be nice and stretched round. Inhale your arms up into warrior two. Just check out your arms. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the elbow down onto the knee. Bring the other arm up. This is version one. You can take the arm down towards the floor. So you want your elbow to be lower than your knee and then internally rotate your arm round. Bring the other hand round and grab. Pull back. Hopefully you can reach. If you can't, don't worry. And then we're going to release the arms, bring ourselves back into warrior two. And we're just bringing that side foot round. We're just going to step back and come up. So, how are you feeling? I definitely know there's one of you that can do this final pose, not so sure about the rest. Be aware of your surrounding and be careful because it is a balanced posture that we're going to do. So, when we did our chair pose earlier, we came down into a bent knee position and we raised the leg off the floor. That's one of the positions we're going to do. But we're also going to attract and add a bind to it. So what I want you to think about doing is bending your bottom down towards the floor. You want your chest in line with your knees. We're going to take, let's take the right arm and we're going to do an internal rotation when we turn it backwards. I don't know whether you can see that. So I'm turning it back, so my hand's now back here. And then this hand is coming round behind my bottom to grab together, and I've got my fingers together. So that's the first part of your posture. You know what's coming, Georgia, I can feel it. So, while you're here, you know we transferred our weight onto our left leg earlier when we were doing chair pose. Well, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to bring the tiptoes of the right foot to the floor, see whether you can lift your leg up. Oof, it's hot already. Ooh, lost my balance. And this is what we would call bird of paradise. If you want to, you can also stretch the leg up, straighten the leg. Can't stay for very long, fall out, collapse. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to practice that on your own, on that side. I know you're going to have a try. You could even try sort of when you're having your bottom a little bit closer to the wall. So you've got something to balance on. So I'm leaning against the wall to bring myself up. I can't straighten up. I have to lean off the wall and try and straighten the leg. It's worth a try. That's one leg. You've got to try the other leg now. You ready for the other leg? So feet nice and wide again. As you exhale, you're bending down, and you want to bring the other leg, the other arm. So this is my left arm. I'm twisting it under, reaching from the bottom, grabbing behind my back, moving that left leg forward, closer to my right leg. I'm on the tiptoes of my leg. You're going to see whether you can stand up. Oh, I'm moving already. And then again, see whether you can straighten the leg. I don't feel very straight, but my legs look straight, but my body's leaning forward. Woo. Well done. So, I hope you're feeling nice and warm, nice and stretched, and there's been no injuries while we've been doing this class. And you will be pleased to know it will be time to come into Shavasana. You just take yourself a nice little drink of water first. You deserve a little lay down after that one. So if you want to come into Shavasana, you can lay with your feet up the couch, up the wall, just lay comfortably on the floor. Just make sure your back feels nice and comfortable. And just allow yourself to feel nice and relaxed on the floor. So just breathing nice and gently, put your eye bag over your eyes or your towel. Just be aware of your breathing. I want you to focus on your diaphragm, just at the bottom of your ribs, and be aware of how your diaphragm moves as you breathe. Just allowing yourself to feel it almost contracting to inhale and relaxing to exhale. So it creates a dome to push the air out of your lungs. And it's the diaphragm and the movement of the diaphragm and the muscles around your diaphragm, like your abdomen muscles and your rib muscles, the intercostal muscles, that actually help that move. So really almost imagine all those muscles moving individually. Just breathing. Hopefully allowing your warm body to cool down slightly after today's heavy session. Just breathing gently. And try and be aware of any thoughts that come into your mind. I know our thoughts can wander quite well when we're trying to relax. Just breathing nice and gently. So I'd like you to have a think about an incident that has happened to you recently, something that you reacted to, something that made you feel not yourself. So think about your incident. And how it must be an incident that happened with another person. It can't be with an inanimate object. So think about something that's happened to you last week or so where you felt out of your depth, or you felt angry or just annoyed with the situation. So once you've got something in your mind, I want you to think about how you reacted to the situation. Was it you that created the situation, or was it them that created the situation? If you haven't had anything happen, you can always think about an older incident that may be preying on your mind. And I'd like you to now think about how the person who you had this interaction with, how they spoke, how they reacted to the situation. So what is it that they said or did, and how did that make you feel? So were they in the wrong? Were you in the wrong? What they said created a reaction in you, but who was right and who was wrong? Could you have reacted differently? Were you in the wrong frame of mind when it occurred? Or did everything happen how you would expect yourself to react, but they outreacted the situation? What you maybe need to think about is how they've been brought up, how they reacted could have been a natural instinct to how they were brought up, how nature and nurture brought them up, and how it might be different to the way you were brought up. Everything is an opinion. So your reaction could have been an opinion. It wasn't the same as their opinion. But could you have reacted any differently to make that situation different? I don't know whether I'm making sense or not. So I'm going to try and give a scenario of something I heard today. A young man was brought up to a life of crime. All he knew were the people around him, and they were all criminals. At the age of 24, this man had got 2 life sentences for armed robbery, I believe, and he went away and did his sentences. Whilst in prison, he was taught right from wrong and was aware that the way he reacted and how his lifestyle and his nature and nurture had brought him up was actually wrong. So he learnt from this, and he then set up a youth centre to help children from underprivileged areas, like he was, to learn right from wrong. So he learnt from his history, his past, and changed his opinions on life. Suppose that's a good-ish example to give you. How you react and how your mind thinks and where you are at the time can often have a profound effect on how you react. So something a work colleague could say might give you a defensive environment and you feel threatened, and immediately on feeling threatened you may react aggressively. But what if the person who caused that reaction had had a massive row with their wife this morning before they got to work, and they were not in the right place when they gave you the task. And had you listened, you may have realised that they weren't in the right frame of mind. They wouldn't normally talk to you like that. And you may have been able to react to them differently, and the situation may not have got out of hand. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So everything we think comes from our mind, and everything they think comes from their mind. And our minds don't always meet in the same place. So I'm asking you to think about your reactions and listen to people more to see whether you can change the way you work. You can't change other people, but you can change yourself and your reactions to people. So my husband made a quirky comment earlier, and it was jokey, but it was an off comment because I had a headache this morning. So I almost reacted in a bad way because I had a headache. But I stopped, advised him that I have a headache and that it wasn't a very nice headache today. I felt very uncomfortable, and that the comment he made, he might want to rephrase. He did. He rephrased it, and I reacted in a calmer and nicer way than I was going to. I may have jumped down his throat otherwise. But I stopped myself from reacting badly. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, is every argument, every row you could potentially have, every discussion you could have, even if it's a good discussion, could happen in a different way if you are prepared to listen. So here's another scenario. A woman had 2 sons, and one son was fine. The other son felt he was not good enough, wasn't as good as his brother, underachiever. But the family didn't know where he'd got that from. So on talking to him, the mother said, there's nothing wrong with you, don't worry, you aren't worse than anybody else. You're good at this, you're good at that, you're good at blah, blah, blah. Talked over the top of him and didn't give the son the chance he needed to actually tell them what he felt. Had she changed her tact and listened to what he had to say, she might have realised that she was making him feel inadequate because she wasn't allowing him to have his say. Hope that makes sense. So, listening, I think, is where I'm getting to ultimately at the end of this. Listen to you, listen to what they have to say, and try your hardest to make every communication you have with every single person beneficial to everybody. It's not a usual kind of meditation or Sanskrit piece, but I like to talk about mind-body connection. And if your mind isn't in the right place and it doesn't listen to other people, how on earth is it going to listen to you and allow you to be a better version of you? We should all be striving to improve ourselves. And on improving ourselves, we improve the relationships around us. So I hope this meditation hasn't been too awkward or unusual. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't like it. But let's bring ourselves round now. So think about taking your eye mask off or your towel, keeping your eyes closed and just breathing gently. Bring some life back into your fingers and your toes, your arms, your legs, your neck. Just take it over from one side to the other. And then as you inhale, just slowly open your eyes. Let the light come in gently. Don't open them too quickly and flood yourself with bright light. We're just going to sit nice. Bring ourselves up to seated, sitting up nice and tall. So allow yourself to be active in your seating position. Your core should be nice and strong. Shoulders back. Bring your hands to your heart center. I wish you universal peace. Om Shanti. Namaste.